If you can't make a woman's life easier, she's not listening to you. Welcome back to the Humaning Well podcast. My name is Amber Cabral. Thank you for joining me today. Me and my Be a Good Human hat. I figured since I needed to cut my hair and bleach it, today would be a great day to wear this and give y'all a look at it. So if you're interested in merch, you can go into the show notes. I'll remind you again at the end of the episode. But today, just full disclosure, I hesitated to even get into this topic because it touches dating. And I honestly try to stay out of dating conversations for my own sanity. But after lots of nudging from listeners who follow me on Instagram and saw me share this and bouncing the idea of sharing it off of a couple friends, I'm just going to take a chance and post this and see how it goes. That said, take what's useful, discard the rest. Okay. This is a conversation about humaning well and how to do so in the context of relationships, which is indeed one of the humaning well pillars: health, wealth, relationships, and growth. So I'm gonna take a little walk here and see how this pans out. Okay. Take it easy on me. All right. Let me give you the backstory. So I shared a clip in my Instagram stories from a man who basically was saying that if a woman can pay all her bills without you, she is not listening to you. Now, I'll drop the link to it in my show notes so you can take a look at the video from that creator. But his point was basically that, like, why would she listen if she can take care of all of her business and you're not adding something? And of course, the comments were on fire. Men are like, oh, women are gold diggers. And the women are like, about time somebody really understands. Like, it's like all the debates you can imagine are happening in the comments. But after watching the video, I came to the conclusion that on the surface, his message sounded like it was about money, like give women money, which, sure. But what the message really was is, if you can't make a woman's life easier, she's not listening to you. The easier you make a woman's life, the more return you will receive from her in terms of her listening, her attention, her affection, her respect. And candidly, those of you who have some complaints about some of the spicy things that are not happening in your bedrooms, yeah, they're on the other side of you making her life easier. A little effort, a little. And for the most part, I will admit that making a woman's life easier does cost money, directly or indirectly. But the money alone isn't gonna cut it. Okay. And when I say directly or indirectly, I mean that sometimes it's not money, it's access or it's time exchange. And those do carry a cost. But the big thing that I think many men are missing is the skill. It is the skill with which you make someone's life easier. Do you have the skill to make her life easier without having to announce at every step, hey, you see me making your life easier, right? You peeping that? You saw I did that thing over there? Did you acknowledge that? Have you rewarded me appropriately? Okay. Can you unfold a woman like how a flower unfolds to reveal itself when it's given what it needs to do so? Can you invite her to rise to the occasion of her femininity? And while this skill, quote unquote, is framed in the context of engaging in an intimate connection, factually, most people don't connect with you because you exist in their life. They do so because of something you add, and when that ad feels nice in their world. That something isn't always money. Sometimes it's time or access. But no matter what the ad is, it requires skill. Now, what do I mean by skill? So I'm going to illustrate what I mean because I think some people think they are doing it, but they are not. And so I'm going to use a well-known courteous gesture for a basic example: opening a door for a woman. A lack of skill looks like you open the door and you make a production out of it, or you follow it up with a belittling remark. Yeah, I can see you aren't used to men opening doors for you. Or real men open doors. It seems like you haven't, really spent time with enough of us real men. Or When you're with me, you don't even have to touch a door. Or perhaps when she does touch a door, you exaggeratedly or irritatedly announce, what did I tell you? You don't touch doors around me. Or, okay. All of these have an undercurrent of like belittling. Like, you don't even know how to function well unless I help you. Aren't you grateful for me? Which, if I'm being honest, is just like not attractive or seductive at all. In fact, you may not mean it, but it feels like you're fishing for compliments, and it feels like you're only opening doors for me so that you can get them. So yuck. And even if the aim isn't romantic, these approaches also lack the foundational connective nature necessary for like friendships or even familial connections. They position one person as being superior and the other as being inferior, presumptively, if it's romantic, to establish some degree of dominance and draw forth submission. But inferior and submissive are not the same. And, submission is earned by having the skill. So generally my rule is, if you have to belittle me, it's because you are little, as in I'm going to have to probably do a lot to prop you up and make you feel taller later, because clearly you need all the props since your ego has you fishing for them while performing a basic courtesy like opening a door. Okay. Now, using the same door example, let's talk about what skill looks like. Okay. We talk about what it's not. Let's talk about what it is. Skill typically builds a little rapport first. So, maybe you let her open the door that she beats you to, but you take the door as she is entering, right? You kind of very obviously take the door and you let her enter so she can, proceed in. You're holding the door now. And when you catch up to her, you say gently, privately, and if it's a romantic encounter, maybe a little seductively if you know how, I would prefer to open doors for you. Are you okay with that? She's going to blush. She's going to say yes. And if you're really good, she's going to apologize for opening the door and maybe explain that she's used to being by herself and she didn't mean it. And, she really appreciates you opening the door for her. Skill will hear her and acknowledge her, but does not feel a need to belittle her. Also, the next door that she reaches for, skill says her name as she reaches for it, commanding, not rude, and she will freeze, melt a little bit, unfold, if you will, and likely apologize as she steps out of the way for you to handle the door. If it's romantic and you have the skill, well, I won't go too far down the dating path here, but there's an appropriate follow-up sentiment that might be helpful in this circumstance. And by the way, skill opens every door for every woman in proximity of said door, because skill knows that opening the door for your woman is a performance, and women unfold for consistency and routine. So are you a door opener or are you performing for me? Okay. And since I want to make sure that, this episode isn't just about romance, right? My goddad opens all of the doors, will not let me or any woman in his presence for that matter touch a damn door. Okay. So this isn't just a romantic thing. This is literally about having skill, and that skill also works very well in a romantic context if you know how to apply it. Now, also, skill knows how to put a woman safely into her softness. My goddad does that all the time. Puts me right on in it. Like, oh, he's got that. Okay. The skill is transferable. It doesn't solely exist in romantic spaces. It just works really nicely there. And just like, money, time, and access, yes, those are factors. It is truly the skill that matters. And I'll give you a couple of examples of what I mean by that. I was out of town, taking care of some business in another state, and a friend of mine that lives where I live here in Atlanta, texted me, and he was like, "Hey, I'm in your neighborhood. I want to go put some gas in your car. I just need to get access to your keys." So I grant him access to my keys. I know him well enough to do that. And he went and put gas in my car. I wasn't even in town. I didn't even know how much gas was in my car. Okay. He didn't ask me if I needed gas. He didn't ask me to pay for the gas. Okay. He didn't ask me anything. He didn't hound me about when I was coming back or if I was going to see him when I got back. None of those things. He's known me long enough to know that I hate going to the gas station, and he was in the area. And so he went and got my gas. Life made easier. Who he is makes the women around him have an easier life. First and foremost, his sisters and his daughters. Okay. So again, this isn't just a romantic thing. This is also for your friends. This is also for your children. This is also for other people. The skill is transferable. Okay, here's another non-financial example, because I know people love to be like, yeah, but that's spending money. And what if he don't have money? And da-da-da. Okay, fine. I was hanging out with a friend of mine. We went to the chess park. This person is an outstanding chess player. He's phenomenal at it. Me, I know what the pieces do, kind of barely. So I've never been to a chess park. Like I don't even know if I've ever even seen people play chess in the park. I know very little about like this whole chess park culture. All right. So as we are entering the park and we're approaching all the other people playing, it's predominantly male. People are like walking up to him and greeting him and like dapping him up and all of that stuff. And like, he is laser focused on me and making sure I'm okay. People are literally approaching him and greeting him. And as each of them greets him, he immediately turns their body toward me, almost like with his energy. And he's like, hey, this is my friend Amber. I just want to introduce you. And I would shake their hands. And like, he wouldn't even engage them in any meaningful dialogue or shit talk or any of that until that happened, right? After they greeted me, he might talk a little trash. They would go have a seat, whatever. Then someone else might walk up. But like, as this round of intros is happening, he's like, hey, I'm going to put your belongings over here. I just want to make sure you know where they are, where, you can see them. And then he's like, oh, let me go get you a chair. He goes and finds me a chair. And this is all happening while like people are walking up to him and he's like steadily introducing them to me. And I'm like, hey, how are you? Nice to meet you. All of that while I am literally standing there as he creates the space for me. And once I am settled because he's found me a chair and he seats it, so that I'm sitting near him, he sets himself up to play after that. All right. And he's able to engage in whatever discussions, all the conversations that were going on kind of continue. And I get to sit and watch. And at no point did I have to wonder about anything, not where my stuff was, not who anyone around me was, or if I should engage with them or not where I should sit. I had to worry about nothing. I was handled with care in an unfamiliar environment full of men I did not know. How he treated me set the standard for how I was treated by everyone the entire time I was there. Not a money example. It's about the skill. But even when it is money, it's not, how much are your nails? Here's some money so I can, take care of that for you. It's more like, hey, I put some money in your wallet. I want you to be able to take care of what you need to. If you're into giving money, like if that's what you want to do, and you give to the tune of your level of appreciation. Like if you have boundaries around money, live in those boundaries. It's also not, when do you have time for me to take you to lunch? It's, are you free for lunch on Friday? And then when she says yes, but she has a tight schedule, you say, hey, that's fine. And maybe you show up with lunch, or maybe you have lunch somewhere nearby, but you make sure to pick her up and drop her off at the door so she's able to like be on time for the rest of her day. Pay attention to where you can make the load light, where you can make the experience easy, where somebody can just, just unfold that skill. And while it works for your romantic life, it's important for friendships too. Imagine that same level of care was extended when you show up in a room that a friend invited you to. Maybe it's an event, it's a gala or something, right? And they're like, hey, you should be here. You should come join me at this event. And you show up to that room. It's full of people you don't know. Now imagine how different your experience might be if your friend, when you arrive, takes you and intentionally introduces you to a couple of people that they're like, yo, you need to know this person. All right. And they even help get the conversation started. Hey, I want to introduce you to Amber. This is what she does. I think you and her would have a great conversation about blah, 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 right? Imagine that versus the friend, when you get there, they come up, they greet you. Maybe they point out and say, hey, you want to go talk to that person over there that has on the blue suit? You know, that gentleman over there, that's someone else you probably want to meet as well. And they just point those folks out that you should go talk to. Skill knows how to intentionally extend their connections and network, not just put you in the room. I'm not saying that like you have to be this level of supportive for every person in your life. I am deeply and intentionally supportive of the people who are in my orbit. All right. So like maybe not every single person I know, but like for the people that are close to me, for the people that I really care about, the people that are in my orbit, the people I want to see win, the people that I love, the people I want to be connected to, I'm going to take that extra care. Okay. And I love that I have people in my life that will take that extra care for me. So I know the thing that some people are going to be worried about is like legit the gold diggers. And my response to that is like, if you are deeply worried about gold diggers, you should just kind of not allow that in your orbit. When you discover that that's who someone is, then maybe you should remove them because that's not the kind of person you'd like to be around. I do think we should be selective about who is in our orbit, right? And people who are in my orbit treat me in a way that makes my life easier, whether it's romantic or not. And I reciprocate, and in some cases initiate where that's appropriate, that same energy in ways that make those people also appreciate my value. All right. I appreciate their value. They appreciate mine. It goes both ways. And if you're only taking and never giving, eventually you become the weight, right? Instead of the lift, instead of the person that's like helping to bring it up. And that's when people start to step away from you altogether. It's like, yo, this is heavy. And what I think some people don't realize is that it's heavy when you feel like you got to highlight for me that you're doing it, because you don't do it all the time. You're just doing it for me to make a point, right? So this is what I mean by skill, you know, like flex the skill, like show me so I can put my shoulders down and rise to the occasion of my womanhood in your presence. Okay. The other thing that I think a lot of people don't know is that the majority of what you want is on the other side of engaging the relationships in your life skillfully. Like Jill Scott said, if you can tell me what to do, then you can tell me what to do. But if you can't tell me what to do, then you can't tell me what to do. And if I like you, I would prefer that you tell me what to do. And to be honest, candidly, I've been kind of coaching a couple friends in this, like, I guess I can call it confident relationship communication space. And trust me, I understand why we may show up in friendships and relationships a bit guarded and with our like little checklist of do's and don'ts. But remember, please, you can have your list, but what you won't do, know that another person is doing, likely with skill. Or there's someone else doing it with no skill, and you could be doing it with skill and reaping the benefits of that impact. I think the most important part here is that there is a much more effective way to move toward the types of experiences you want with people that you are interested in engaging with, or who are a part of your orbit, or who you would like to have a part of your romantic life. And it doesn't require you combing through the snarky podcast bros episodes to figure out how to react to an unanswered text. Like, there's just a better way. You don't have to do that. With all that said, I do still want to give you a few questions that you can consider as you ponder this episode. I do think this could be kind of heady. I hope I simplified it well. But here's some things you can consider if you are like, do I have the skill? Am I using the skill? Just some things for you to roll around in your brain. So number one, how do the people closest to me add value to my life, and how do I add value to theirs? You should be able to articulate this well. If you are thinking about this in a romantic space, I would say, how am I inviting an opportunity for this person to show themselves to me? How am I creating safety for that? How am I showcasing to them that I am a safe space and that I am inviting and welcoming to whatever open energy they would like to share with me? What am I doing to do that? Number two, do I know how to show up for others in a way that feels like support, not performance or ego? Meaning, do I know how to do the things and not also have to announce that I did the things, right? Or emphasize that I did the things? Am I feeding myself, or am I showing up with the awareness that when I show up fully, life can't do anything but pay me back with the glory that I have showed up with, right? With the level of energy that I'm giving. You're going to get that back when you show up with it, not when you're fishing for compliments. Third, where could I be paying better attention to lighten someone I care about's load without them having to spell it out for me? And then number 4, am I only receiving value, or am I also offering it in ways that people actually care about? How do you know? All right. How do you know that you're doing that? So before we go, you see I've got my Be a Good Human hat on. If you don't, it's tan with black lettering. I know some of you are listening with your ears and not with your eyeballs today. If you are interested in getting your Be a Good Human hoodie, hat, or t-shirt, those are available for pre-order through October 20th. You can grab yours at ambercabral.com/merch. And for those of you who have already ordered one of those items, thank you, thank you, thank you. I literally only put this together because people were on my head about it. And so I am relieved to see that people are actually taking interest. Please, more interest. I am open to receiving that, please. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I'm open to your feedback about it. This is a totally different subject matter for me, so I have my nerves about it. So hit me up on socials. Let me know what you think, or leave your comments on YouTube, and I will see those. And I hope you enjoyed the episode, and I'll see you next week.